Hi, everyone. I'm Maria Khan. I lead the National Campus Recruitment Programs at CGI, which includes our co-op and new grad programs. I'm absolutely thrilled to be here today to share with you some of our career journeys from our new grads who are former WISE co-op students. WISE stands for Women in STEM Excel. Now, before we break into our panel discussion, I will give our esteemed panelists a moment to introduce themselves as well. So let's start with Ruofan.
Hi everyone, my name is Ruofan Chen, and I previously graduated from University of Toronto Scarborough with a computer science bachelor's, and I have recently joined CGI as an AI developer.
Great, thank you. Lauren?
Hi everyone, I'm Lauren Timmins. I started as a co-op with CGI in January 2025, and then I graduated from Dalhousie with a bachelor's of applied computer science this past summer and transitioned to full-time in the fall.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us. And last but not least, Sohelee.
Hi, this is Sohelee, a master graduate from University of Windsor, currently working as a quality analyst at CGI.
Perfect. Now, before we dive into all of the questions, we are going to give you some context on what the WISE program is all about. So I have a couple of slides to go through for our audience here. So as I mentioned, WISE stands for Women in STEM Excel, and it's a co-op program designed specifically for the acceleration of development of our co-op students who are within the technical stream. So program is really designed to accelerate the development of women who are studying within a STEM academic discipline, ensuring that we're equipping them with the skills, the resources, the tools that they need in order to flourish and set them on their path for a long-term career within tech. And we do this through learning, training and development, mentorship, as well as networking. Now, some of you may be asking, why women in STEM? Why did CGI create this program? Well, according to Statistics Canada, in 2021, women aged 25 to 34 accounted for only 34% of all STEM post-secondary qualification holders. So it was really critical for us at CGI to not only attract women within the co-op technical stream, but also to really ensure that their development and their career progression was secure so they could continue to flourish being a woman within the technical industry. Now we're going to share with you a quick QR code. So if you have a cell phone close by, please feel free to pull it up and take a quick snapshot here. We wanted to provide an exclusive opportunity for our audience here today to submit their applications for our Fall WISE program. So if you are self-identifying as a woman, enrolled in an accredited co-op program in a post-secondary institution in Canada, and you are pursuing an academic discipline that's geared towards computer science, software engineering, software development, AI, or business technology management, please feel free to submit your application. We will have all of our fall co-op roles posted on our career site in May. But just to get ahead of the recruiting cycle, we wanted to thank all of our audience for joining us today and give you a head start to submit your application. Hopefully you walk away from today's discussion feeling inspired and ready to submit that application. And if you are doing so, please do so by the deadline of May 5th. All right, so now we will shift gears a bit and dive right into our panel discussion so the audience can get to know our panelists. So let's start with Lauren, if you wouldn't mind sharing with the audience here, when you were pursuing that academic discipline and you were in high school, really thinking about what you wanted to pursue, what made you decide computer science?
Yeah, so when I was in high school, I really had no idea what I wanted to do in university, and I barely even knew what computer science was. My brother at the time was recently going into computer science, which is where I feel like I started to hear about it. And my high school offered a computer science course. So in grade 11, I decided to take the computer science course just to try and get a feel for it, see if I like it. And on the first day of classes, when I walked in the room, the teacher asked me, am I lost? Am I in the wrong spot? And I was kind of confused. But then when I walked in the class and I saw that there was only two other women in the class, I quickly understood why. I did not really have any friends in in that course, and I didn't know anyone, and I was scared to ask any questions, so I had a hard time learning the concepts, and this led me to thinking that computer science was really hard and that I wasn't smart enough for it. Um, I continued to look at computer science programs in university. I looked at some in Toronto and some in Nova Scotia, and then I ended up finding Dalhousie's applied computer science program, which I thought was really interesting because it kind of mixed business and management with computer science. And business was something that I did know, I did like, and I was interested in, but I almost wanted something else, something more. Program. I thought it sounded pretty good. So I applied for a scholarship with Dal and I ended up getting the scholarship. And this really boosted my confidence because, as I was saying when I was in the computer science course, I was not very good at doing the projects or the tests. The teacher had actually told someone else in the class that I would not succeed in computer science in university. So my confidence was very low from this experience. But getting that scholarship, getting accepted in computer science kind of boosted my confidence because I thought, if they think I can do it, I need to start thinking that I can do it too. And nothing else felt right, but computer science didn't feel wrong. So I just decided I can try this out. And if it doesn't go well, I can always switch. So in my first year at Dal of computer science, everyone was asking like questions that I had in my head that I thought were stupid questions in high school. Everyone was asking them in the class, and this allowed me to learn a lot more. And within my first year, I felt like I really had a good grasp and concept of computer science, and I was able to go into that program not really having any knowledge and come out with 1 year and actually understanding it. And I just loved the way that it made my brain think. You can have a problem but have 100 different ways to fix that problem, and I just loved that aspect of it. So I was really happy that I went into computer science. It was a weird different path getting there, but I love how now I get the chance to support and help other people who maybe felt a similar situation as I did in high school.
Well, thank you for sharing that journey. And I know it wasn't, your traditional journey, and you may have had some challenges and obstacles along the way, but I appreciate that you were able to have that self motivation, gain your self confidence, and continue down that path. And congrats on winning that scholarship as well, Lauren. We're very lucky to have you here. Now, Sohelee, I know your experience is a little different than our other panelists because you also pursued your master's. So, if you could share with the audience here a little bit of your journey.
I chose computer science mainly because it offers many opportunities compared to other subjects. Honestly, at the beginning, I was not very informed about all the aspects of this field, but I knew it had a wide range of job options after graduation. My father is a businessman and my mother is a math teacher. Before me, there was no one in my family from a computer science background who could guide me or give me proper direction. But over time, I started liking it because it never makes me bored. There is always something new to learn, and there are many different domains to explore in computer science.
Thanks for sharing that. And I'm sensing a theme here, right? A lot of self empowerment. So, you may have been the first in your family to pursue IT or a technical degree. But you did it. Didn't necessarily have the guidance, but you made it. So I appreciate you sharing that with us. Um, Now, I touched on some stats earlier on in this session, really talking about the enrollment rate when it comes to women in post-secondary STEM programs in Canada. And Lauren, you touched on this in your response, right? Being one of the few women within your class. But I'm curious to know if, Ruofan, did you have a similar experience while you were in school?
I definitely did, and my experience was very much similar. Although there were many of my friends who identify as women in other courses, oftentimes they're in chemistry or maybe in biology, and some of them are in physics. But looking at computer science in specific, oftentimes within the class, it's just me and my one friend, and all of the others are not to say very protective of the work, or isolating us. But in that environment, it definitely felt a little bit out of place, and it would have been so much worse for me had I not had that one friend who was also women identifying and also in the class. So I definitely agree that the statistics is very much reflecting what is actually going on. And from my experience, it definitely has been the case.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that you were able to build that sense of community with your friend, right? So it's always great to have a companion. Um, so Haley, what about you? Did you have a similar experience to Ruofan and Lauren?
Not really, but like if anyone is having this kind of issue, I can tell like if you're the only woman in your class, try to stay confident and not feel out of place. At the beginning, it may feel uncomfortable, but it is important to focus on your goals and remind yourself why you chose this field.
That's right. That's a very powerful insight and tip. Lauren, what about you? I know in our prior discussions you touched a little bit on the fact that you were really involved within your student organization on campus, and that helped as well in that sense of community. Do you want to touch on that a bit?
Yeah, so because of those statistics and what we face when we walk in the classroom, I think it's really important having a community and having a group of people that you can lean on and support, and they can also support you. And at Dal, I was lucky there was a club called WITS, and they got together every week. Sometimes there would be more professional focused development events, but sometimes it would just be, let's hang out, eat pizza, study. If you have a question, maybe I can help you, you can help me. It was just a really good sense of community. And maybe not all universities have a great community like this. So I would say if there's not, make one, because if you feel like you want a community and you can't find one, most likely other people feel that way too. So having a community to support on is a really important and a really great thing, I think.
I'm glad that you're able to find that, and you're sharing the insight around, if you don't have it, build it. That's critical, right? So you have someone who's maybe sharing some of the same challenges, some of the same obstacles, can help you along the way. And it's a really fantastic segue into my next question, which is about the WISE program. So would love to hear from you, and let's start here with Rufan. If you could share with the audience your experiences through the WISE program, building that sense of community, and what really, if anything, during your experience here made a profound impact on you.
Definitely. I had friends who were not part of the WISE program, also as a co-op here at CGI. And throughout my conversations with them, I definitely compared and contrasted, and it definitely felt WISE to be much more impactful than I originally had thought it was. So one thing that I definitely really liked was we have the sense of community. So amongst WISE co-ops, we get to network with each other, we get to talk with each other, although we're not in the same necessary office or same region, but we still are able to communicate with each other through Teams or through other platforms, and discuss our common issues, because we're probably all technology backgrounded. So we're going to have a lot of common topics that we get to discuss, and that has really built that sense of community. And on top of that, one thing I definitely really liked was receiving feedback, and that comes from that community, that comes from mentorship, that comes from other people. And I feel that WISE program itself is able to provide you so much more opportunities than if it was just a normal co-op. Not to say you can't do it, but it does take a little bit more work, and it feels like you need to self-motivate yourself and pace yourself in those. And one other thing I would add is, because throughout the WISE program there's actual Safe for Teams certification, and throughout that certification, I was able to learn much more about the workplace, common technology, like technology company practices, etc., and that was very valuable to me.
Okay, I'm glad to hear that you had such a positive experience, and it sounds like the community tends to be that common theme throughout a lot of our responses. But you did touch on something we haven't spoken about yet, which is mentorship, and that's a critical aspect of this program as well. So while we have the peer-to-peer camaraderie, we also really compel the young women in our program to also get matched with a women leader mentor at CGI. So would love to hear from you. Perhaps we can start with Sohelee, if you wouldn't mind sharing your experience with your mentor in the program.
Yeah, so the WISE program was incredibly rewarding and transformative for me. I made a conscious effort to make full advantage of all the opportunities the program offered, and it truly paid off. One of the most valuable aspects of the program was the structured mentorship. I had the opportunity to connect with my mentor every month, which gave me consistent guidance, valuable insights, and direction on how to improve. My team lead and my manager were always approachable and regularly provided constructive feedback, which played a key role in my continuous growth as well.
Okay. So it sounds like your mentor, not only was critical in your co-op journey, but really led to your transition as a new grad as well, and was there to support you along
Yeah,
the way, which is fantastic
yeah,
to hear.
yeah.
Um, so we're going to take a step back. We've talked a little bit about your academic path and how you chose it when you're pursuing your undergrad. We talked about the WISE program experience. But for the co-op students in our audience who may not have landed their first co-op, or maybe they're just going on to their second work term, I think it would be really interesting for us to hear from you about how your corporate life um, expectations align with the reality of what you faced here, whether it's within WISE or outside of the WISE program. Did you feel like your expectations were met when you were transitioning into a co-op work term? Whoever would like to go first.
I can take this one.
Sure.
So I think that mine exceeded. Um, I work out of the Halifax office, and the work culture is amazing here. There's a lot of different people here that have so many different skills and experiences that we all get to learn from and build on. A lot of us work on projects, but then there's also different maybe mini projects that we're working on together. We have a program called CGI Next at the Halifax office where we get together once a week and we really just plan professional development events, community events, and social events, which is really fun and a good way to get together with everyone you work with. When I came to university, or when I came to the work life, I didn't know if I would get to do a lot of mentoring and outreaching as I had done in university. But when I came to CGI, through CGI Next and a lot of other different initiatives, I got this chance. And one of the events we put on recently was called Data Jam. So we got to collaborate with the other universities around, and they formed groups and they came to the event, and we gave them a problem statement. They all came up with solutions and presented them to judges. We had judges across academia and industry. It was amazing. And even before this event, we had workshops every week for a month leading up. So if they didn't have the skills that they needed to properly execute this data jam, we were there helping them. So that was really fun that I still got to be involved, like with outreach work and with universities, even though, I'm working now. So it's 100% exceeded my expectations.
I'm happy to hear that. And if there's one thing I can say about the Halifax office, there is never a dull moment. So I'm not surprised to hear that you've, built such a fantastic network internally and you continue to give back to the community on campus. So maybe we focus now on Toronto a little bit. Ruofan, is there anything that you want to add about your experience, coming into the corporate life for the first time?
For sure. And Lauren, I think you didn't have to limit it to the Halifax office. I think the work culture is everywhere, right? I think we just have an amazing work culture. And one thing I truly that really aligned and exceeded my expectations on is about how everyone's so open to talk and connect. If you are there for it, if you show right, and if you are interested, people are so willing to help. And not only as a co-op, they're willing to talk to co-ops like if they're equal. And it's so easy to sometimes book a time slot with your director, or with a director on another team, or sometimes even a VP. So I feel like that has been so encouraging for me to learn quickly and to see what's going on. And I think that type of positive, uplifting work culture has really exceeded my expectations.
Yeah, and I could definitely echo that sentiment, Ruofan, right? So I see that a lot from our co-op students. They're almost taken aback when they do approach a senior leader who makes time for them. And that really speaks to the workplace culture here across Canada. So, Haley, was there anything you wanted to add to your experience as well, coming into the corporate life for the first time?
Yeah, it covers my expectations as well. My placement with the QA automation team was one of the most impactful parts of my journey. I had the opportunity to contribute to real site client projects, and then which helped me strengthen my both technical and professional skills. Along the way, I earned certifications, participated in hackathons, collaborated with diverse teams, and represented CGI in various capacities, like at the University of Toronto's campus. So yeah.
Great. And I know, Rufan, you're quite involved on campus as well to this day. So I appreciate that all three of you, as alumni, continue to give back. All right, so we've touched on some insights and tips kind of naturally and organically through our conversations today. But when it comes to the specific example of a co-op transitioning to a new grad role and someone who's kind of at that critical part of their own career journey, would love to hear from you if anyone has any insights or tips on how they can make that leap from co-op to new grad. Whoever wants to go first.
I can go this time. One important tip for transitioning from a co op to a new graduate role is to stay open to different opportunities. From my mentor, I learned that I should not limit myself to just one role based on my past experience. Instead, I should apply to a variety of junior positions such as developer, tester, business analyst, or a project control officer. Being flexible increase the chances of getting a job and gaining more experience. Also, considering the current job market in Canada, it's important to keep an open mind and be willing to explore different career paths.
I'm glad you touched on that because we get that question a lot as a recruiter. Should I apply to just one job? Can I apply to many? So I think the transferable skills are really key, right? So developing your network is important, but also building your skill sets to be able to apply to a wide variety of roles. So thank you for sharing that insight. Lauren, did you want to add anything to that?
For the transitioning from,
Yeah.
yeah. I do agree with that, like being flexible. And I had a pretty seamless transition. I was like working on the same project in co-op as I was when I was full-time role, so it wasn't as um, two separate things for me.
Right. And your transition was, I would say, infinitely seamless because you pretty much stayed on within the same team and continued that journey.
Yeah.
Ruofan, what about you? How was your transition from co-op to new grad?
I would say my transition did follow a similar case with Lauren because I did stay on my own team. But one thing I would definitely recommend is always be reflective of what you have been doing. So, of course, regardless if it's going to be your first co op or several co ops in, however many work experience you did previously have, it is always crucial for you to reflect on your experience and see how you have learned and contributed, and as well as how has the team helped you, right? Because you should always remember that in a best situation, you should be benefiting from the team as well as contributing to the team. So all of those are going to help guide you when making decisions on what you want to further pursue and how you further want to grow. And all of that is going to come together within your decision, whether or not you want to stay at the place that you are currently at, whether it be CGI or another location, or you're looking for other opportunities in other industries, etc. I feel like there are many parts of where you can transition your career into a new path, but from co-op to new grad, it seems like that transition is a little bit more heavily viewed or heavily considered. And if you can really take advantage of this opportunity to reflect on your own experience and make a more informed decision for yourself, that would be great. And oftentimes you don't want to make a decision such that it will lead you to burnout, right? Or lead you to pursue a path you don't want to continue on.
Yeah, and it's interesting to hear that you and Lauren had this kind of seamless journey, going from co-op to new grad, staying within the same team, but you both touched on the networking aspect. So if you could share with us some insights and tips on how a co-op who wants to become a new grad could push themselves a little bit more to pursue some networking internally, because I know it can be awkward. I know it can be, it's not an easy muscle to exercise if it doesn't come naturally to you. So how did you maybe compel yourself or encourage yourself to start networking a little bit more to build that professional community within CGI above and beyond the WISE program?
I guess I can go. One of the things I definitely find helpful, and that's one of the reasons why I continue to do it now, was that I got engaged with, I was participating in a lot of our activities held by our resource groups as well as our campus events. So that pushed me to get to know people that are outside of my current team for, participating in the same event or help organizing a particular event. And I think that is such a great opportunity outside of just doing the work itself, to get to know someone. And that builds a really good, genuine type of relationship that can be a stepping stone towards a stronger networking, as well as building that community. So that has really been very helpful for me. And that also allowed me to talk with people with different titles. I know I am more on the technical side, but I got to talk with like Maria as well as others from the HR team. I got to talk with people who are a little bit more business oriented. And that allowed me to not only understand better what CGI does, but also understand better on how different careers can really come together in supporting a particular client or supporting a particular initiative. And that has really made me learn a lot and reflect a lot on my own journey.
Well, that's a great insight. So it sounds like, in order to be well-rounded and really kind of grasp a corporation as big as CGI and how to navigate it, building those that internal community and that internal network is really important. So you can kind of organically through conversations start to build an understanding on how to navigate an organization of this size. So thank you for sharing that insight. Sohelee, is there anything that you wanted to add as well?
My team's willingness to share knowledge and make time for me ensured that I always felt hard, value, and truly included at CGI. So what I did was like whenever I thought of some roles, excluding my testing role, I connected with my manager and thought like I said like, can I meet with that team and can I observe their roles, responsibilities there. And my manager was always open to make connections with me to her teams and all those stuff. So they are like this one I found very useful at CGI. Everyone is very open minded and they are here to help you. They are here to guide you.
Well, that's a great tip, right? Leveraging your manager to help propel you a bit further and to help with those warm introductions. I think that goes a really long way as well. Now, I'm going to ask one last question before we open it up to some of the questions from the audience. So I know we likely have some fall co-op students within our audience who are eager to submit their application, and you've all been in their shoes. So would love to hear from you if you have any insight or tips on how you can make your application stand out.
I can go at this one first. So I think applying for a co-op, most co-ops don't have much experience, and I think the workforce really, they know that and they understand that, so they're not expecting like 10 years of experience or 5 years of experience. So really drawing on like your education and your knowledge, but also what makes you unique, what makes you different from other people, all of your experiences, make you the person you are, and it's not going to be the same as someone else. So really just drawing on personality and your uniqueness. And there's a lot of knowledge you'll be able to learn once you're in the job and once you have the co-op. But for getting that co-op, yeah, just try to stand out, make yourself different from other people. And they're also trying to see, oh, is this person able to learn? Is this person able to adapt? Is this person able to apply concepts? So that would be my advice. Be yourself, even though sometimes it can be really hard and really nervous. Just be yourself.
I appreciate that. Anything you wanted to add, Ruofan?
Yeah, I think I'll definitely add on to that one. I definitely feel that, for those who are currently tuning in and watching us, getting to know about a company before you actually apply is so crucial. And whether it's through events like this or whether it's through networking with others from CGI or from the company can be so crucial and so important as well. Oftentimes within the actual application, there will be an actual referral available if you wanted to fill that out and if someone has agreed to be your to refer you, right? So I feel that if you do have that network already built, it would be absolutely amazing and the cherry on top to have their referral, and it adds a little bit more weight into your application overall.
That's a fantastic tip. As recruiters, we get asked so much, can you refer me? But unless we've worked with you in a professional or personal capacity, we can't. But to your point, building those connections within the company is so important. Showing up to events like this one, and then getting to a point where you've developed a strong enough relationship that someone's comfortable referring you. We like to say talent knows talent, and like you said, referral holds a lot of weight. Sohelee, was there anything that you'd like to add in terms of insights or tips for incoming co-op students?
For me, it does work within my team, but yeah, I made networks, I made connections, and I did proper use of all the events that was happening when during my co-op. So join all those events, join those groups where you can make networks within other co-op students, also other teams. Do like maintain good connections with your team as well, and through your team you can meet other teams as well within CGI. Yeah.
Thank you. So I think now we can shift gears a little bit and see if there's some questions from the audience. And I see one right here. They're asking if WISE is only for students, early careers. Do we support newcomers with international experience? So we do absolutely support newcomers with international experience, kind of broadly at CGI. But for the WISE program specifically, the focus is really on post-secondary students, so women who are enrolled in a post-secondary institution within Canada, who are starting out their career journey within the STEM field. And we have hired folks who are international students, so we absolutely encourage applications from international students as well, even from those folks who are making a pivot in their careers and decided to pursue a post-secondary program within STEM. But the critical point here is, making sure that you're enrolled in that post-secondary institution in Canada, and that you self-identify as a woman, and that you are also pursuing a STEM academic discipline. That's what would make you qualified for the program. So I see a question here as well on mentorship opportunities for new graduates. So I know more broadly speaking that we do have a fantastic mentorship program available to everyone within CGI, where we allow folks at any job level to make those connections and make that kind of mentorship connection as well. But Ruofan, Lauren, Sohelee, as a new grad, if you have pursued mentorship, above and beyond your WISE co-op experience, we'd love to hear your insights on that.
I guess I can start off. So, with regards to that, I definitely have been talking to people, and it doesn't have to necessarily be framed as a mentorship. I often have coffee chats with people, when I show up at office, because different teams as well as different business units, we do share office spaces in the Toronto office. So when I see them, and sometimes I just knock on their door, or sometimes I just try to grab some of their time, or maybe we grab coffee together, or however that is. And I feel like although it might not be directly framed as like a mentorship program, but mentorship does come along that way. And there's definitely many opportunities as a new grad, and much similar to as even if you're not a new grad, if you're just a employee that has been in CGI or has been working for some time, I feel like it's very much similar in the sense that if you are interested in someone, start that initial conversation through a coffee chat or something. And if you are interested in something more, and if they're willing for it, right, ask for it. And I feel like people are very open to that here at CGI.
That's great to hear. I think there's some really fantastic resources online to tap into as well to get yourself ready to become a mentee. So I think starting to do some research on your own time on what it is you are expecting out of that mentorship relationship is also really, really important. So you're walking into that connection with your own kind of objectives in mind, staying open-minded to their insights and feedback and guidance along the way, but also making sure that you're coming in with a sense of purpose is quite important. Lauren, I know there's no shortage of mentorship where you're seated in Halifax, so would love to hear from you in terms of new grad opportunities to gain that mentorship advice.
Yeah, I have a similar experience to what Ruofan was saying, how it doesn't necessarily need to be worded as mentorship, but what's happening really is mentorship. If I'm ever interested in either a certain software or a certain business process or a certain project, really anything, I'd be able to reach out to someone and they could help me. And if they can't, they would be able to put me in the right direction to who would be able to. And I've never not been able to just meet with someone for 30 minutes and have a conversation, talk about it, and usually that leads to more conversations in the future as well. So I have some mentors who are maybe only a year older than me, and then I have some mentors who have a lot more experience and higher senior leadership positions. So there's a large range and lots of experience to go around, and it's amazing because I love learning from other people.
I love hearing that because I think automatically sometimes people think of a mentor as someone who has years and years of experience, but sometimes that can mean someone who's just 1 or 2 years beyond your career experience, who was in your shoes not too long ago and can share insights on how they got there. Um, Sohelee, if there's anything you wanted to add as well in terms of mentorship, I know you touched on this a little bit in your prior responses in terms of building that internal network, leveraging your manager to help you get there as well.
I was part of the mentorship, of course, but as well as I had one work buddy who is just joined maybe 2 3 years back. So I had the opportunity to connect with him and take insights from him. Yeah,
Yeah, and I love that you mentioned the buddy program here at
yeah,
CGI. So
yeah.
above and beyond just your traditional mentorship, we do have a buddy who's with you since day one of your journey to help really support you
Yes.
answer some of those questions that maybe around some simple things like navigating the intranet. But they can really help make a difference in your first couple of weeks and months at CGI. And those folks tend to be folks who are just 1 or 2 years above you in terms of career experience. So that's a really great one to draw on. So to sum up a response to that question from the audience, there's a ton in terms of mentorship opportunities as a new grad. Some of them formal, some of them informal. It's really up to you to kind of make your career here and take ownership of that journey and build that network when it comes to mentors as well. I'm going to take a quick look at our chat and see what other questions we have. All right, looks like someone is asking about advice for pursuing co-op or early career roles in AI technology at CGI and how women in STEM can best position themselves to break the barriers and grow within the company. So that's a really good two-part question. Let's start with the first part. So I know, Ruofan, you have that experience in AI, so I'm going to ask you to take this one on. If you could give some advice for folks, for co-ops or new grads pursuing AI.
For sure. So, my personal experience was that I had an interest, but I didn't quite have the time to. So, what happened was there was a job position, another co-op that I completed at the Ministry of Education of Ontario, and they had that within the actual plan in the sense that they wanted the co-op to work on those activities. That was kind of my initial exposure towards AI. But although my exposure was more of a work exposure, it doesn't have to come that way. I have many friends who are, took a course at school or took a course online, and oftentimes they were working on personal projects. And I feel like that is all very good in demonstrating not only your passion towards AI, but also, demonstrating your skills and your understanding. All of those are going to come together within an actual application, or whether or not you're networking with people at AI related conferences or events. All of those are going to come together to support you to, break the ice and, break into the actual industry from that perspective. With regards to um, how I would really suggest for everyone, though, I would say there's so many resources available online and so many certifications. Oftentimes, some certifications are provided for free, maybe coming from, the large vendors, for example, like Google, Microsoft, etc. Right? And I would strongly recommend you take a look at the certifications. They often provide a more structured introduction towards the content, and from there on, it's really wherever your interest leads you. So if you're interested in particular aspects and you see a lot of, public repositories of projects there, or if you have an idea in your mind and you want to work on that, all of those are going to be so helpful in creating a portfolio that supports your actual application.
And if I could add to that, really outlining your interest and your passion on your resume and your cover letter as well, I think that goes such a long way. So everything you touched on in terms of that personal projects, building your own knowledge base by seeking out resources, articulating that on your resume is really, really helpful in getting your foot in the door. We all know AI is an evolving space rapidly. So really putting together a compelling reason for your passion for AI and articulating that on a resume would help you stand out in terms of your application. And I'll go back to the second part of that question because I think that's kind of one of the big objectives of this discussion today. So how can women in STEM best position themselves to break barriers and grow within the company? Who would like to take that one on?
I can start on that one. I feel like that's a pretty big question. So best position to break barriers and grow within the company. So for breaking barriers, I think working hard and in not giving up at something. If someone makes like a comment to you or says something to you maybe about a specific idea or project you have, don't let that fully decide if you're going to pursue it or not. If you believe in something and if you feel strongly about something, sometimes you need to like push through it even if not everyone is on the same page as you. um, Networking is a huge thing. We talked about that a lot, but I think networking and just being in office and being involved in things and having people like know who you are and what you're working on is a really big thing too. And confidence is the ultimate key, being confident. A lot of people have imposter syndrome. So even though you are fully able to do something, you don't feel like you are. And I've definitely had some feelings of imposter syndrome, especially first starting out, even in co-op or in new grad. Um, but yeah, being confident and not backing down and networking.
And staying on that theme around, seeking out some resources, building up that confidence as well, overcoming imposter syndrome. I'm going to ask the team here to pull up our QR code for our future Women in Tech Career Lab sessions. I think we talk about some of these really, really important topics as well. So if you could take a moment and scan the QR code, please feel free to register for our upcoming sessions. We do have some really fantastic experts who are touching on these important topics and diving in quite deep into the subject matter as well. So while the QR code is up on the screen, I'm just going to take a look here to see what other questions we have. There was a question from the audience around opportunities for summer because they couldn't find any on the website. So we do follow the recruiting cycles that aligns with what the post-secondary institutions across Canada do, which is typically starting 4 months in advance of the start date. So all this to say that we started recruiting for the summer way back in January, and we've actually wrapped up our summer recruiting cycle. We have over 100 co-op students starting with us next Monday, actually. So if you are interested in fall, we will be posting our fall co-op positions in our first couple of weeks of May. So please stay tuned to our career site as well. I know the team moderating the chat has likely shared links there for you to use as well. So we have a question here about how can new grads land a role at CGI if one hasn't worked as a co-op at CGI? That is a question we get a lot on campus, so I'm going to start with the response for this one. So we really try to invest heavily within our co-op program and build and develop our co-op students while they're with us so they can transition as seamlessly as the panelists have shared to that new grad role, which results in the fact that we don't have a ton of new grad positions to offer externally. So I am going to lean on Ruofan's response there, where she had mentioned reaching out to the network within the company that you're desiring to get into. That's going to take you a really long way. So I would suggest doing a bit of research on LinkedIn, seeing who's working within that company, who is either in the role that you wish to be in as a new grad, or perhaps leading the team of the of that discipline that you're interested in pursuing. I think that's a really great way for you to make yourself stand out, to learn about the company, to learn about the position. And quite often, if you've made a really positive impact through that connection, the hiring manager will keep you in mind. And we have seen that many times as well at CGI, where we've had our ambassadors, our leaders from the business, go to campus events, build those organic connections, network through LinkedIn, have some informal coffee chats, and then they think of those students, and they're the first ones that they say that they want to interview when they do have a new grad opportunity on their team. So while we may not have a ton posted when it comes to new grad positions externally, for those of you who haven't done a co-op work term with us and you're interested in landing a new grad role, please continue to build your network at CGI. You can also search the career site, set up a job alert, and that way you also get email notifications every time a new grad position is posted, so you can be one of the first to apply. So there are avenues for you still get your foot in the door within CGI through the new grad stream. I know I shared a lot in response to that question, but if the team here had anything else to add, please feel free.
Yeah, I definitely agree and echo what you were mentioning. It's just, be on the lookout, right? Oftentimes opportunities do come by, and, opportunities are for those who are prepared for it in a way. So, build a as you wait for certain positions to become available, as postings become available, you still want to work on your resume, work on your actual interviewing skills, right? And work on all of the other technical skills that you might be interested in, or you might be new to, because in the end you have to think about just applying to a posting is not enough, right? There's so much more behind the actual overall process, and that will eventually lead you towards that job offer and lead you towards that opportunity. So even in the meantime, there aren't any opportunities directly there. I think it would be still good for you to, persist and work on this valuable skills, because once you get that opportunity, you're going to be able to, push yourself forward and really make yourself stand out in the overall process.
Thanks for that, Ruofan. Lauren, Sohelee, is there anything you wanted to add in terms of some tips, for someone who may not have done a co-op work term with us, how they could potentially get their foot in the door as a new grad?
do research about CGI. Like during my interview, I had one question like, "What do you know about CGI? What do you know the activity CGI is doing for women program?" So do know about CGI, and then do make connections on LinkedIn. Now this is so easy to make connections. If you don't know that person or that person who is serving at CGI, you can make connections. You can talk. You can take insights from them. I did those kind of things during my transition, during my co-op applications, and that worked for me.
Well, thank you. I'm glad that we have a success story, a great testament to networking.
I mentioned this before, kind of like highlighting what makes you unique and you're bringing out your personality. But in terms of like projects, sometimes people work on like their own projects. And if you're trying to land a role with CGI and you're saying maybe you didn't have the co-op experience, then kind of highlighting those projects that you have had made before, whether that's a website or um, anything at all, really, just highlighting that.
That's a great one. So if you do have a GitHub profile, having a hyperlink to that, if you're a graduate student who's been, done some research and you're in publications, linking that as well, I think that's a really great tip. It's a fantastic way for hiring managers and recruiters to see real life examples of your work and your passion. So thank you for that. I'll take another question from the audience here. There's someone who mentioned that they're graduating from the US and if they can apply to positions in Canada. They spoke to someone at CGI and they're very interested in working here. So we do have CGI offices within the US. So you are able to apply for opportunities within the US as well. But if you are interested in pursuing opportunities in Canada, you have to be legally eligible to work within Canada. So as long as you do have that work authorization, you are able to submit the application. But as part of our application process, we do have assessment questionnaires, as most applications do these days. And one of the questions we ask is about that legal eligibility. So without that, we're not able to pursue your application. All right, I'm going to take one more question here as we wrap up today's discussion. So there's a question around international students and getting that experience within Canada. So if any of you are international students yourself and wouldn't mind sharing some of that experience in terms of either barriers to entry, gaining that experience within Canada, and how you were able to overcome that.
Yeah, I think I can take that. So I am an international student right now in work permit. So I used my back home experience while applying to many companies, also at CGI. So yeah, I have to prove myself through interviews and my co-op term, but I did mention my back home experience in my CV, and it worked.
Okay, that's great. And one really great resource as well for international students and newcomers to Canada is leveraging your career center on campus. So I think sometimes when you're new to Canada, you're not even sure how to kind of navigate building out your resume for the first time. There's some nuances from country to country when applying to jobs. So I think leveraging your career center to help you put together your first resume is also a really impactful way of ensuring that your application stands out and is also kind of following the standard of submitting job applications within Canada. So, Sohelee, I'm glad to hear that you were able to articulate that international experience and it helped kind of boost your application and land you a role here. So as we close off today's discussion, we'd love to hear from all of you. We've talked about some common themes, some insights around networking, building that sense of confidence, researching the company that you're looking to pursue. Do you have any kind of closing thoughts and tips for women who are breaking into the academic discipline of STEM? And it could be general tips, something that you wish you knew when you were starting to pursue your career journey.
I'll start off.
Very short. Or
Oh,
you can take, yeah.
yeah. All right. So I guess I'll start off. One thing is don't back down. And there's going to be opportunities. There are going to be things that come your way, right? Imposter syndrome, everything. People are going to try to put you down. Don't back down. You're going to be challenged oftentimes, and it is so crucial. And it stems from, of course, confidence, but also it stems from so many other things. But you should be clear on, your stance. And once you are firm on your stance, don't back down.
I love that. That's very powerful. Thank you. Lauren, Sohelee, anything you wanted to add? I think Sohelee, you were looking to add something. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, do not let the environment affect your confidence. Participate in discussion, ask questions, and stay active in your learning. Also, try to build connections with your classmates as well. Over time, you will feel more comfortable and accepted. Trust me.
Right, and that continuous learning is a great one. We're all in technology, and we know it's rapidly evolving. So staying on top of things and staying connected with your friends, I think that's a great tip. So the alumni community of your school tends to be a really fantastic resource for you to continue to build that professional network outside of the organization you're in. So I think sometimes that's an understated tip. So I'm going to really echo that sentiment here for our audience. Stay connected with your school's alumni association, continue having those friendships, and follow their career journeys on LinkedIn. I think it's a great way for you to continue to learn from each other. And who knows, they may just help you land your dream job at a future company as well. And Lauren, what about you?
I was just going to say always say yes. Sometimes the gender gap is harder to maybe find a group of friends, but also being one of the only women in the classes leads to a lot of opportunities for you. And I definitely got a lot of opportunities in university, and I try to just always say yes to all of them because you really don't know what one door can lead you to, and some of those doors led me to a really good next door. So always say yes to things.
Lauren, I made a mental note of that. So the next time we have a volunteer opportunity, I'm going to be reaching out to you. So thank
I'll
you
say
for that
yes.
tip. You'll say yes. Awesome. Well, thank you so much to our esteemed panelists. When we launched this program in fall 2023, I worked very closely with our learning and development team to bring it to fruition. And kind of fast forward to 2026, we are over 100 women who have been hired into this program, which is just a fantastic milestone for us to hit. But we want to continue to grow that milestone and want to continue to grow our WISE co-op students into new grads with us as well. So for our audience here today, I hope you were able to take a lot of insights from our fantastic panelists, and I hope you're able to actually use some of those insights to submit your own applications to our WISE co-op program. So thank you again for tuning in, and thank you to our panelists for making the time. Have yourselves a wonderful day, and we look forward to seeing you at future Women in Tech Career Lab sessions. Thanks, everyone.